Hello and welcome back to the NBA DFS Slate Breakdown for Wednesday, March 26th, the last day that we have NBA without MLB going on. So we're going to have a little stretch here where we're doing both MLB and NBA shows, but this one is NBA. We got a nice 6-game slate on tap. Tune in later for the MLB show. The first one will be coming out this afternoon. I'm your host, Tyler Wiemann. Come join us at LineStar. $39.99 per month gets you access to all we do, all the props, all the DFS. You get it all. Now, let's check it out. It is going to be a little chalky of a slate, I believe. We'll see if more value opens up throughout the day, but we do have an interesting spot starting position by position. Point guard Kevin Porter, 41% owned. He is going to be chalky. I would expect he comes in a little under what we have right now, but he is definitely a guy to target. He's at 1.17 fantasy points per minute coming off the bench. He's likely to come off the bench even with Giannis out. However, they might be looking for a little scoring, so I wouldn't be that shocked if he slides into the perfect line or into the starting lineup. And if so, he is a little bit interesting just because of the minutes he'll get. I am a little worried about his minutes just because without Lillard, 27-22. And this is a close game. Only had 2 fouls, so it wasn't really foul trouble. I do worry a little bit that they don't really want to give Porter big time minutes. So that is one hesitation I do have with him. But we know he has a giant ceiling, so I absolutely want to have some Porter here. But I may come under the field a little bit. I'm going to have a lot of them, just maybe not 41+%. It'll be a little bit under. Luka, 11.6K, 34% owned. Now, obviously, LeBron has taken some usage, but we do have a close game here, and I don't mind getting to some Luka. There's so much value out there. Locking in somebody going, for 50+ points is not a bad way to go here, at least for your cash games. But for DFS, we do need that ceiling. And he has struggled with LeBron to get that 11K ceiling. I still don't mind going here. One thing I will say, though, is we do have Jokic now questionable. He got upgraded to questionable, and I obviously would rather Jokic than Doncic as far as the pay-up option, but I'm getting to some Luka at this point. And for the record, I did everything as Jokic was out. If Jokic's in, I imagine I'm paying down more at point guard than I am right now and paying up at center there. Now, Derek White, 7K, 31% owned. He's in a great spot. There's likely no Tatum tonight. Tatum is doubtful. He gets boosts up. He hasn't really produced on the boost without Jaylen Brown, but he gets similar boosts without Tatum. I don't mind going here. He has a big time ceiling when he gets it rolling, and the Suns have been giving it up to guard. I also don't mind Drew Holiday. Just White generally gets a bigger boost. However, Drew started playing pretty well lately. And pivot-wise, James Harden, 9,500, 16% owned. Just another pay-up option. Knicks kind of crowd the paint. So Harden, if he's getting hot from 3, could be super interesting in this spot. I don't mind a little James Harden to get different and pay up to get different type of spot. D'Angelo Russell, 6,500, 12% owned versus the Raptors. All right, so he hasn't played for a couple days, but the last 2 games was 29 and 32 minutes. He is coming back from an ankle injury, so I'm a little worried how many minutes they will give him. But if they are giving him the 29 to 32 range, he's going to look super, super interesting being 1.1 fantasy points per minute as a starter over his last 20. Now, with the Nets, he's at like 1.2 something fantasy points per minute. So he has a path to really being able to succeed. I am a little interested here. I'm not going to go super hard on it, but I do like some D'Lo at low ownership. Point guard on DK, Kevin Porter, D'Angelo Russell, only 5,800 over here, so way cheaper, and people seem to love him there. I don't mind getting there on FanDuel as well. Luka we covered, Kevin Porter we covered, all of that's the same. Might as well talk about Ryan Rollins here at 4,500 because we get the chance to. 23% owned. He's likely going to start. His minutes have been consistent. He has been a solid producer when he really sees minutes here. So I think he's a very interesting pivot off Porter. And, you know, it's direct correlation with Porter. If he gets more minutes, Porter likely gets less minutes. So an interesting little leverage option going with a lower owned Rollins there. And let's go to shooting guard on FanDuel. We got Kevin Porter. We got Rollins. We got Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, giant boost up without Tatum. My one concern is he only played 26 minutes. Now, it was a blowout, so that likely led into some of it. But they held him out for 3 games. Tatum got hurt, left the game, and his minutes still weren't huge. So I have a little bit of concern that they may do the same with with Brown, where they just don't give him giant minutes. And that obviously negates some of that boost if he's not going to be playing all the time. So I like Jaylen Brown, very interested in him, but I am going to be scouring, trying to find any news about any sort of minute limit, something like that. I'm interested in him. I think the ceiling's giant. Also a little scared of him going over owned and not playing the full allotment of minutes. Pivot time. Devin Booker, 9%, 9,100. Giant ceiling with him. They're without Tatum, so this game could stay closer later into the game. It's only a 5-point spread, and Booker can fill it up. When he gets hot, you know, there's that 60, 70-point ceiling. I don't mind taking some shots on him. Quentin Grimes, 8,700. That price is getting up there, but he keeps producing, and there's obviously a giant ceiling. 40 has been his low lately, and now he's in a great spot versus the Wizards. I'm fine going here. One of the highest scoring games on the slate at 231. I'm going to have some Grimes for sure. Gary Trent Jr. This is my pivot play off of the high-owned Rollins and Porter. Less low-owned Gary Trent Jr. Look, we have seen for years when teams are injury-ridden and Gary Trent is on there, his fantasy point per dollar goes from like 0.65 per minute up to like 0.9. Without Giannis, without Lillard, without Portis, Gary Trent goes to 0.9. So a huge boost there. And regardless if he is starting or coming off the bench, I expect 28 to 32 minutes. So I think there's a lot of safety there. We're not going to know if he's in that starting lineup until later, which I think could mean his ownership stays a little bit suppressed. I am very interested in Gary Trent. I have more of him right now than I do Rollins or Porter. I just like the floor-ceiling combo better with him than everybody else. Obviously, I love the Porter ceiling the best, but the floor can be low at his ownership. So, getting on over to shooting guard on DK, Jaylen Brown, Colby Jones, and Zaire Williams. Colby Jones, 3,400. Likely sees some minutes. Saw 27 last game. Didn't do too much, but he did have that one blow-up game versus the Utah Jazz where he played 26 minutes. There's the path to him playing 24, 26 minutes versus a poor 76ers team in a great spot. So I don't mind some Colby Jones at 3,400. Just understand, while there is a ceiling, there's also a very low floor, and at 19% owned, he's probably going a little over-owned, but I don't mind taking some shots on him. Zaire Williams, 4,500. Very interested in Zaire. Minutes are going to be probably pretty solid. He did only play 22 the other night, so there is a little bit of worry there, but I think most likely situation is he's between, say, 28 and 32-ish, and at 4,500 versus this Raptors team, it's interesting to take some shots here. And let's get on over to small forward on FanDuel. Jaylen Brown, we covered. Kyle Kuzma, 5,900, 33% owned. I'm going to have a decent amount of Kuzma. It's just really hard to get away from these Bucks today in this spot. I do have to say, if Jokic is healthy, it's going to be a little harder for me to get the Kuzmas and the Lopez's, because those are the guys that'll probably play a little less in a blowout scenario. But Kyle Kuzma is interesting at 5,900. Likely playing 34, 35 minutes in a close game. And from his stay in Washington, we know he has big ceiling. If he gets it going and he's getting the usage, he should get plenty of usage in this game. 5,900, I'm interested. Next, we got LeBron James, 9,400, 31% owned. Look, he was continually in the 50s with Luka on the court prior to getting hurt. He played 38 minutes last game. We see his minutes are there. They're back. I'm fine going to some LeBron at 9,400. I think it's interesting. I kind of would rather do that than pay up for Luka. Honestly, I think Luka's a little overpriced, where LeBron is probably correctly priced. Pivot-wise, Devin Booker, Quentin Grimes, Gary Trent, we talked about him, so we'll get on over to small forward on DK. Kuzma, LeBron. Justin Edwards, 5,700, somebody we should talk about here. He's played huge minutes lately. Over the last 5, he is averaging 36.6 minutes per game. He is averaging 33 fantasy points per game over that span at 5,700. That alone has to, be of some interest. Now, he could start at small forward or power forward here. I would kind of expect he goes to power forward in this spot, but no idea. Power forward versus Wizards has been a little bit of a tough spot, where small forward has been very interesting to attack. So I will be watching this starting lineup. I would like him better at power forward, but it could go either way here. He's super interesting. He's going to be playing both the 3 and 4 throughout the game. So I'm not that worried about where he lines up, but I think the minutes are there and he's been producing good enough. My one hesitation is I don't know how much ceiling he has. He's been consistent, solid cash game guy, but ceiling I am a little bit concerned about. And let's get on over to the power forward spot. Kyle Kuzma, Tristan Vukcevic, and LeBron James. Tristan Vukcevic, great point per dollar situation here. So we're showing 1.38 with the starters. That he had, one really good game as a starter. So I'm throwing that out. But he is over a 1.2 fantasy point per minute producer coming off the bench. I don't know if he's going to start or if he's going to come off the bench. They could go Tristan and Sar at the 4-5. I think that is a possibility. Both guys can play the power forward. Both guys can play center spot. So I think that is a little interesting. However, 76ers likely go a little small, so I would expect one of them be in center and one to be and then Tristan coming off the bench. My worry with Tristan is 24, 21 minutes, something like that off the bench is the most likely situation. And going super high owned, I find it hard to want to eat the chalk here, especially when we have easy pivots in Trenton Watford we can go to at very similar price, 4,800. Another guy likely coming off the bench, less owned, last 3 games, 27, 30, and 28 minutes. 27 minutes, 5 games ago. So that's 4 of 5. He's played 27 plus. And now Cameron Johnson's out. Day'Ron Sharpe is out. It's likely that Jalen Wilson is probably starting at the power forward spot, which he's just not that good. So I think there's a clear path to Watford playing backup center and backup power forward minutes. And that gives a clear path to those 27 plus more minutes again. And it's a guy that's been 0.97 fantasy points per minute, but Raptors are getting crushed by reserves, giving up 28th overall fantasy rank in that. So I'm super interested in Watford. You're giving up a little bit versus Vucevic Vucevic for his point per dollar, but you're getting extra minutes. It's a guy that can give you 40 at 4,800. I'm interested in Watford. I think that's a very interesting pivot for me to make. And I'm going to be going there a little bit. LeBron, we covered. Other pivots, Alex Sarr, 6,600. It's also a pivot off Vucevic. Both these guys need to get some boards to really produce. Sarr will do it a little more in steals and blocks and all that. So they're not, you can play both of them together. I'm probably just not going to. I'm probably going to stay away from that risk of playing them both together. But Alex Sarr, I love the ceiling versus the 76ers team that really doesn't have much of a big man at this point. And then Kristaps Porzingis, 8,100, super low owned. He had hit 52 of the last 4 games, and his minutes, we've seen him get up to 31, 32 minutes. And centers have been getting crushed versus the Suns. Super interested going Porzingis in this spot at a low ownership. Power forward on DK, Kuzma, Watford, LeBron. Covered them all. We'll move it on over to center. Brook Lopez, highest owned center, for good reason. 40% owned, 5,700. He just gets a giant boost without Lillard, Giannis, Portis. He's at, I don't remember exactly what it was, 38 or something points per 100 without those guys. 10 rebounds per 100. It's a really good spot. Now, Jokic is upgraded to questionable, which may, hinder the Nuggets a little bit or the Bucks a little bit, because it will make the Nuggets so much better. But I'm very interested in Lopez. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense for the Nuggets to push Jokic out there, and if he's not close to 100%. So I would still side with him sitting, but Lopez just gets giant boosts without those guys. And as you can see, he's had a couple good games lately. I'm fine going Lopez here. Tristan, we talked about. Watford, we talked about. Sarr, Porzingis, we talked about. And that's all I got there. So we'll go to center on DraftKings. And it's the same trio as the high owned here on DK. So that will do it for us today, guys. I'll be back later today with the first Major League Baseball show. We'll be diving into that. There's some big Major League Baseball DK and FD contests tomorrow, so I'm excited to hit that hard. You guys have a good one. Stay tuned for that later, and I will be back tomorrow with more NBA DFS as well. Peace!